My name's Kim Addonizio, and I've written books of poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. I've written about a dozen books. The most recent ones are a collection of poems, Mortal Trash, and a memoir called Bukowski in a Sundress, Confessions from a Writing Life. I'll be teaching a workshop on metaphor, which is not only for poets, but could be for anyone who wants to just enrich their language with figures of speech, figurative language. We're just going to be looking at making comparisons and making leaps and ways to do that to wake up your language and make it compelling and surprising. The other one is going to be on the personal essay, and it's going to be about mostly about how to get started, or at least partly about how to get started and really how to write an opening that really engages your reader and brings them in right away to your story that you have to tell. And then we'll be talking about different ways to go from there beyond the sort of what happened next approach, which is always part of it, telling a good story, but there are lots of interesting ways you can go through a piece of writing that can be equally interesting. So we're going to talk about those. One panel is called, what's it called? Limericks, Love, and something else. There are three poets on it, so I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun and very interesting, of course, for poets and, maybe for people who don't know much about poetry either. Sometimes people who do other writing feel a little intimidated by poetry, and I think it would be fun for people to come to a poetry panel and see it's really not that scary. The other panel is called Saying More with Less. Again, it's a panel that I think poets will be particularly interested in, but every writer should really know how to say more with less and how to be concise in your language, how to be precise, how not to run on too long, unless you're David Foster Wallace maybe, but otherwise most of us really want to get to the heart of the matter and say what we need to say and keep our reader with us. So we're going to be talking a lot about that and just about language.
Why should a writer come to the Central Coast Writers' Conference?
I think that writers' conferences are just great opportunities to meet other writers, to work with and hear from both writers that have accomplished a lot already and writers that are aspiring to accomplish something. You can make some really good friendships there that can last you past the conference and get a lot of ideas, I think, that can sort of recharge your batteries for going back into the ordinary mundane world where a lot of people don't care that much about writing. So it's great to be with a group of people that passionately cares about this thing that we all love to do and are trying to do well and put out into the world.
Tell us about your Scribe Tribe.
Yeah, I guess if by Scribe Tribe is meant my fellow writers, I would have to say that there are a lot of writers in there, and they are basically all the writers that I have known and loved that have moved me and inspired me, living and dead. I connect a lot to many earlier writers who are no longer around, but because, language is such a way to express your reality in your world, I feel that I know so many of these writers who I've never met. And those are perhaps the writers that have sustained me the most. But I do have some good close writers friends who, have good, as Hemingway says, you have to have a good bullshit detector. And my friends will do that for me. They'll call bullshit on me when my writing is trying too hard or not getting where it needs to go. So that's really good to have friends like that.